enriching the overflowing pockets of greedy publishers.
Oh.
Driven into a painful professional exile, Neil was forced to endure a deeply humiliating, yet bravely resilient, fight for his own musical survival. Stripped of his major recording contracts in the United States, he packed his bags and sought refuge across the ocean. He swallowed his immense pride and began playing in small, smoky working men's clubs throughout the United Kingdom and distant, unfamiliar venues in Australia, fighting every single night just to provide a stable life for his wife and young children. The deafening, adoring cheers of sold-out American arenas were painfully replaced by the casual clinking of glasses in dimly lit foreign pubs. Yet, even in this grueling, heartbreaking exile, his creative spirit absolutely refused to be crushed. He quietly continued to write masterful, brilliant songs for other performers, watching from the painful shadows as different singers climbed the Billboard charts using the very melodic gift that his own country had harshly told him was no longer valuable. This agonizing period of isolation exposed the music industry's darkest, best-kept secret. They had built a glittering, highly profitable empire by chewing up young prodigies and ruthlessly spitting them out the moment the cultural flavor changed. But the arrogant executives in New York and Los Angeles had made a massive, unforgivable miscalculation. They smugly assumed Neil Sedaka would simply surrender and fade away into the history books as a forgotten, tragic figure of the early 1960s. They did not realize that true, pure musical genius cannot be permanently silenced by a shifting trend or a canceled studio contract. While the American gatekeepers haughtily turned their backs, a massive, unexpected shift was brewing right in the heart of London. A devoted fan, who had grown up meticulously studying Neil's brilliant chord progressions, was rapidly becoming the biggest rock star on the entire planet. And when their paths finally crossed, the stage was perfectly set for one of the most spectacular, triumphant comebacks the music world had ever witnessed. The massive, unexpected shift that was brewing in the heart of London arrived in the form of a flamboyant, rapidly rising superstar named Elton John.
Wow.
Elton had spent his youth meticulously studying the brilliant chord progressions and flawless pop sensibilities of Neil Sedaka, unlike the Cold. Calculating American executives who had callously discarded their former king, Elton recognized the timeless, undeniable genius that still burned brightly within him. In a profound act of musical justice, Elton signed Neil to his newly formed Rocket Record Company in the early 1970s, determined to introduce his childhood idol to an entirely new generation. This powerful alliance set the stage for one of the most spectacular, triumphant comebacks the music world had ever witnessed, with the release of The Soaring. Optimistic anthem, Laughter in the Rain. Neil did the impossible.
Hello, my name's Jacob Elijah Moses.
Sorry.
And I'm a single dad. I have an 11-year-old son and an 8-year-old son.
Wait.
I raised by myself. And my parents
okay.
my parents are elderly.
Sorry, the cat is. Don't press the keyboard.
His way out of a decade of painful obscurity and marched straight back to the #1 spot on the American Billboard charts. He followed this massive victory with another smash hit, Bad Blood, featuring Elton himself on backing vocals, definitively proving to every single publisher who had turned their back on him that true artistry does not possess an expiration date. This phenomenal resurgence was his first monumental act of reclaiming his power, but his ultimate, most poignant moment of breaking the silence arrived many years later. For decades, Aging artists have often faded away in bitterness, angrily recounting the stolen royalties, the restrictive studio contracts, and the brutal betrayals of a ruthless industry that treated them like disposable products. But as Neil reached the twilight of his remarkable life at the age of 86, he chose a completely different, infinitely more powerful way to expose the system that had once tried to erase him. He did not read off a resentful list of names or shout into the void about the executives who had wronged him. Instead, just days before his passing, he sat down at his beloved piano, looked directly into the camera, and posted a deeply moving final video message to the world. He simply played his music and declared his enduring philosophy of good times, good music, and good friends. This serene, joyous moment was his absolute, undeniable victory over the Hollywood machine. The industry had desperately tried to dictate his worth, violently control his art, and ultimately...
Sam? Sorry, Sam. Sam, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing... Wait. Up, 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 up.
Ultimately discard him in the freezing shadows. Yet, here he was, at the very end of his journey, completely surrounded by a lifetime of love, still a brilliant master of his craft, and still deeply in love with the piano.
Oh.
It was the sweetest, most profound revenge a forgotten artist could ever achieve. He had survived the crushing weight of the star-making factory with his beautiful soul entirely intact. But as the final notes of his last performance gently faded into the quiet air, a lingering, powerful question remained for all of us who have spent our lives eagerly consuming the art of these musical legends. Neil Sedaka's incredible journey from a teenage prodigy in Brooklyn to a discarded idol, and finally to a triumphant survivor, is not merely a tale of personal resilience. It is a profound, echoing reminder of the heavy, often unseen toll exacted by the relentless machinery of the entertainment industry. For every artist who miraculously finds their way back into the warm glow of the spotlight, there are countless others whose beautiful voices have been permanently silenced by the cold, calculating business of fame. When the blinding flash of the cameras finally fades, do we still care about the fragile human beings left standing in the dark? Are we, as an audience, truly willing to listen to the agonizing silence of forgotten stars before their music completely stops? What would happen if the industry actually treated these brilliant creators as cherished, breathing souls rather than disposable commodities on a corporate balance sheet? His beautifully complex life stands as a powerful beacon for all those who have been exploited, overshadowed, or simply left behind when the world decided to look away. He fought tirelessly to reclaim his own narrative, proving to the world that true artistry can never be permanently owned by a corporate entity. Today, we listen to his final Dakini Amaini, joyous piano chords, not just to remember a pop legend, but to fundamentally change how we value the creators of our beloved memories. As Neil Sedaka so beautifully demonstrated, the greatest triumph is simply living a life filled with pure joy, far beyond the reach of those who once tried to break your spirit. He leaves us with a sentiment that echoes through time, stating that he was not seeking vengeance. He just wanted his story to be told with his own voice, and his music remembered exactly as he played it. Thank you for joining us today. If you believe in preserving the true
Right, I can get rid of this.
If you eat garlic,
Oh no.